Until very recently, this was a border. The Itter is a stream like any other, except for the fact that it once separated people, religions, and even postal services. The Itter once divided the cosy village of Bontkirchen. These 7 houses belonged to the state of Hessen. The rest of the village was in Westphalia. And people have been fighting about it for centuries.
It was always the same. It failed because of the people from Hessen, because they didn't want to change it. I don't know why. Somehow they just didn't want to give anything up.
The whole argument is about this spot. On the one side, it's Hessen, where cows gaze across the border to their North Rhine-Westphalian counterparts. It's neatly divided up between the respective agriculture ministries. Apart from that, the conflict turns on these 7 houses and their 22 inhabitants, plus a sawmill, an athletic field, and an inn. They were in the Westphalian part of Bontkirchen, but they belonged to Diemelsee-Stormbruch in Hessen, a kilometre away. But a miracle has now occurred, and Hessen has set its people and their houses free to be Westphalians. For the newly minted citizens, it's a great day.
We have nothing against the people of Hessen. It was just that we had certain problems that we don't have now. For example, postal delivery. When I gave an address in Diemelsee-Stormbruch in Hessen, the mail would always take 2 or 3 days longer.
For the 22 residents, it's also now easier to deal with the police when trouble comes.
One night someone broke in, so we called emergency. The police came and took notes, and then all of a sudden they said, "Oh no, you're in Hessen. We have to call them. We can't do anything about it." So we had to start the process all over again.
Another problem that's been solved is differing license plates. There's KB for Korbach in Hessen, while everyone else in town had HSK for Hochsauerlandkreis, Westphalia. Now the new residents have HSK too. They also have a new date for trash collection. Even dealing with refuse was a shambles.
The rubbish is picked up by the same company, but on a different day. Here it's Mondays, and with us it's Wednesdays. Strange, no?
So whose fault is it? Women, 5 centuries ago. That was when Martin Luther's Protestant followers turned up in Catholic Bontkirchen. The men wanted to change religions and become Protestant, but the women didn't.
When Luther's followers came to town, the men of Bontkirchen wanted to go along, but the women were ready to drive them out with flails and pitchforks.
So things remained divided, and worse still, allegedly half of the marksmanship hall, the most important piece of property in every Westphalian town, was now in Hessen. But because folks in Hessen didn't have nearly as many marksmanship festivals as Westphalia, there was a collision of 2 worlds. The situation was irreconcilable, divided by borders and coats of arms.
I wouldn't say Hessen's people don't know how to celebrate civic events. In fact, they loved the shooting festival because it was only held every few years. On our side of the border, it's an annual event, and we like to do it that way.
But the row over a handful of houses is now past, and the parliaments of both states have approved an official decision. Money was the only sticking point. Hessen should have got this wood, but the weather threw a monkey wrench into the works.
Then came the storm named Kirill and blew down 2/3 of the trees in the forest. After that, they lost interest because they would have had to reforest, so they negotiated for damages and ended up with 390,000 euros.
After that, the border was moved and will remain undisturbed behind the forest. And 390,000 euros for 22 former Hessen residents?
I think that's way too little, because in the end you can't put a price on us.
I agree, she's right.
Now the Itter is no longer a border. It's a quiet little stream.